All right, good evening, YouTube. I am back with this story from the Nag Hammadi on the origin of the world. I'm going to try to go ahead and read all of this tonight, okay, finish it out. And I'm sorry, I didn't do anything last week with this or the tarot for those who are watching the study of the tarot series or any readings. I got a whole new schedule. And with this whole new schedule that I have, okay, um, it's just a new schedule. I'll just leave it like that. So I don't have some of the time that I had before. All right, but nevertheless, we are going to continue. All right. We have to work on those things that need to be worked on. One thing in my life as I was growing up that was a challenge for me was not completing what I started. So it's still somewhat of a challenge, but nothing like it used to be. Okay. So that's my goal, to complete the things I started. I still got to finish the religious study series. I got to finish Christianity. And I think I'm going to do that one Christianity video over the first one, probably delete that one that I did and do it over again. Because all I did was read. I didn't do no commentary on it or anything. I was, like I said, new schedule. A lot of times I'm just really tired and sleepy. All right. But I enjoy this YouTube work because it's just, I like it. Okay, it gives me, I don't want to say it gives me something to do in the sense that I don't have nothing to do, or oh, it's just something to do. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy the creativity of the videos I make, and sharing this information with you, as well as sharing it with me, because a lot of this stuff, like I said, I've had this book for a long time and only read one story out of it. Started to read another, got offended by the language many years ago. I probably look at it now like, why did you get offended by that? But whatever. All right, so y'all bear with me, but I thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel, and thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel in the midst of the time where I haven't really been posting anything. I think I post my tarot one card draws every day. I try to do it every day, but some of the other things I haven't really posted. So for those of you who have subscribed during that time, thank you, and those who have stayed subscribed during that time, I appreciate it. All right. So let's get back into this on the origin of the world. Here we are. We're talking about here the tree of life. This is where I put my mark where I know I was finished. So let me get to reading. Okay. If I'm not going to explain the first part, okay, please go watch the video. Okay. If you just coming in on this second part, like what's this all about? This is the second part of the story. Go watch the for part one. All right. And it's called On the Origin of the World. All right. All right. Let's get into this here. All right. The effect of this tree is described in the sacred book. To wit, it is you who are the tree of acquaintance, which is in paradise, from which the first man ate, and which opened his mind, and he loved his female counterpart and condemned the other alien likenesses and loathed them. Now after it, the olive tree sprouted up, which was to purify the kings and the high priests of righteousness who were to appear in the last days, since the olive tree appeared out of the light of the first Adam, for the sake of the unguent that they were to receive. Okay? I don't know what unguent is. I don't have my other, oh, well, I got my dictionary here. Let me see if it's in here. LMNOP. QRSTU. Okay. TU. ABCDEFG. Unguent. There it is. A soothing or healing staff. Unguent. Unguent. Okay. Unguent. A soothing or healing salve. Ointment. Okay. And the first soul or psyche loved Eros, who was with her, and poured her blood upon him and upon the earth. And out of that blood rose the first sprouted up out of the earth, out of the thorn bush, to be a source of joy for the light that was to appear in the bush. Moreover, after this beautiful, good-smelling flower sprouted up from the earth, different kinds from every single virgin of the daughters of Pronoia. And they, when they had become enamored of Eros, poured out their blood upon him and upon the earth. After these, every plant sprouted up from the earth, different kinds, containing the seed of the authorities and their angels. After these, the authorities created out of the waters all species of beasts, and the reptiles and birds, different kinds containing the seed of the authorities and their angels. Isn't this interesting here, this creation story here? Okay. But before all these, when he had appeared on the first day, he remained upon the earth something like 2 days, and he left the lower pronoia in heaven and ascended towards his light, and immediately darkness covered all the universe. Now, when she wished, the Sophia, who was in the lower heaven, received authority from Pistis and fashioned great luminous bodies and all the stars. And she put them in the sky to shine upon the earth and to render temporal signs and seasons and years and months and days and nights and moments and so forth. And in this way, the entire region upon the sky was adorned. Now, when Adam of light conceived the wish to enter his light, i.e., the eighth heaven, he was unable to do so because of the poverty that had mingled with his light. Because of the poverty that had mingled with his light. Then he created for himself a vast eternal realm. And within that eternal realm, he created look at this. Oh my God, I love this. He created 6 eternal realms and their adornments, 6 in number, that were 7 times better than the heavens of chaos and their adornments. Now, all these eternal realms and their adornments exist within the infinity that is between the 8th heaven and the chaos below it. Where y'all think we at? Being counted with the universe that belongs to poverty. Damn. Gotta read that again. Now, all these eternal realms and their adornments exist within the infinity that is between the 8th heaven and the chaos below it, being counted with the universe that belongs to poverty. If you want to know the arrangement of these, you will find it written in the 7th universe of the prophet Hierolias. I believe that's the pronunciation. Excuse me. And before Adam of light had withdrawn in the chaos, the authorities saw. Oh, this is so rich. Okay, I'm sorry. And before Adam of light had withdrawn in the chaos, the authorities saw him and laughed at the prime parent because he had lied when he said, "It is I who am God." Who laughed? The authorities saw him and laughed before Adam of light had withdrawn into the chaos. They laughed at the prime parent. Who is the prime parent? Go watch video 1. Because he had lied when he said, "It is I who am God. No one exists before me." I remember that for those who watched. What did the prime parent's mother say? When they came to him, they said, "Is this not the God who ruined our work?" Damn. He answered and said, "Yes. If you do not want him to be able to ruin your work, come let us create a man, human being, out of earth according to the image of our body and according to the likeness of this being, Adam of light, to serve us, so that when he, Adam of light, sees his likeness, he might become enamored of it. No longer will he ruin our work. Rather, we shall make those who are born out of the light our servants for all the duration of this eternal realm." Now all of this came to pass according to the forethought of Pistis, in order that man should appear after his likeness and should condemn them because of their modeled form. And their modeled form became an enclosure of the light. Then the authorities received the acquaintance, gnosis, necessary to create man. Sophia Zoe, she who is with Sabaoth, had anticipated them, and she laughed at their decision. For they are blind against their own interest. They ignorantly created him, and they do not realize what they are about to do. The reason she anticipated them and made her own man or human being first was in order that he might instruct their modeled form how to despise them and thus to escape from them. Now the production of the instructor came about as follows. When Sophia let fall a droplet of light, it flowed onto the water, and immediately a human being appeared, being androgynous. That droplet she molded first as a female body. Afterwards, using the body, she molded it in the likeness of the mother which had appeared. And he finished it in 12 months. An androgynous human being was produced, whom the Greeks call hermaphroditus, and whose mother the Hebrews call Eve of life, Eve of Zoe, namely the female instructor of life. Her offspring is the creature that is Lord. Afterwards, the authorities called it beast, so that it might lead astray their modeled creatures. The interpretation of the beast is the instructor, for it was found to be the wisest of all beings. Now Eve is the first virgin, the one who without a husband bore her first offspring. Now Eve is the first virgin, the one who without a husband bore her first offspring. It is she who served as her own midwife. For this reason, she is held to have said, in quotes, "It is I who am part of my mother, and it is I who am the mother. It is I who am the wife. It is I who am the virgin. It is I who am pregnant. It is I who am the midwife. It is I who am the one that comforts pains of travail. It is my husband who bore me, and it is I who am his mother, and it is he who is my father and my Lord. It is he who is my force. What he desires, he says with reason, I am in the process of becoming, yet I have borne a man as Lord." This is what she said, y'all. Okay. Now these, through the will, and it's lost here, they don't know, okay? The souls that were going to enter the modeled forms of the authorities were manifested to Sabaoth and his Christ. And regarding these, the Holy Voice said, "Multiply and improve. Be Lord, be fruitful and multiply." Okay? Be Lord over all creatures. Ain't that we hear some of this, okay, in Genesis. There's a lot missing out of that book, ain't it? Okay. It is I, where am I at? And regarding these, the Holy Voice said, "Multiply and improve, be Lord over all creatures. And it is they who were taken captive according to their destinies by the prime parent. And it is they who were taken captive according to their destinies by the prime parent. And thus they were shut into the prisons of the modeled forms." Or at the consummation of the age. And at that time, the prime parent then rendered an opinion concerning man to those who were with him. Then each of them cast his sperm into the midst of the navel of the earth. Since that day, the 7 rulers have fashioned man with his body resembling their body, but his likeness resembling the man that had appeared to them. His modeling took place by parts, one at a time, and their leader fashioned the brain and the nervous system. Afterwards he appeared as prior to him. He became a soul-endowed man, and he was called Adam, that is, Father, according to the name of the one that existed before him. And when they had finished Adam, he abandoned him as an inanimate vessel, since he had taken form like an abortion, and that no spirit was in him. Regarding this thing, when the chief ruler remembered the saying of Pistis, he was afraid, lest the true man entered his model form and become its Lord. For this reason, he left his model form 40 days without soul, and he withdrew and abandoned it. Now on the 40th day, Sophia Zoe sent her breath into Adam, who had no soul. Now on the 40th day, Sophia Zoe sent her breath into Adam, who had no soul. He began to move upon the ground, and he could not stand up. Then when the 7 rulers came, they saw him and were greatly disturbed. They went up to him and seized him, and he, the chief ruler, said to the breath within him, "Who are you? And whence did you come hither?" It answered and said, "I have come from the force of the man for the destruction of your work." Damn. Okay. When they heard They glorified him, since he gave them respite from the fear and the anxiety in which they found themselves. Then they called that day rest, inasmuch as they had rested from toil. And when they saw that Adam could not stand up, they were glad, and took him and put him in paradise. And they withdrew up to their heavens. This is really good here. After the day of rest, Sophia sent her daughter Zoe, being called Eve, as an instructor, in order that she might make Adam, who had no soul, arise, so that those whom he should engender might become containers of light. When Eve saw her male counterpart prostrate, she had pity upon him, and she said, Adam, become alive, arise upon the earth. Immediately her word became accomplished fact. For Adam, having arisen, suddenly opened his eyes. When he saw her, he said, You shall be called mother of the living, for it is you who have given me life. Okay. Questions and speculations and answers and books everywhere. That was me, y'all. Okay. Then the authorities were informed that their modeled form was alive and had arisen, and they were greatly troubled. Then they sent 7 archangels to see what had happened. They came to Adam. When they saw Eve talking to him, they said to one another, What sort of thing is this luminous woman? For she resembles that likeness which appeared to us in the light. Now come, let us lay hold of her and cast our seed into her, so that when she becomes soiled, she may not be able to ascend into her light. All right, y'all, be careful out there about becoming soiled. These things and creatures and whatnot wanting to keep you from ascending into your light. Rather, those whom she bears will be under our charge. But let us not tell Adam, for he is not one of us. Rather, let us bring a deep sleep over him, and let us instruct him in his sleep to the effect that she came from his rib, in order that his wife may obey, and he may be Lord over her. Then Eve, being a fourth, laughed at their decision. It's right here. I didn't write this. How old is this? Books that was found and purposely left out, and things that people have just kind of figured out how many thousands of years later when it was already written out. The story had already been told, the truth hidden in what they call like plain sight and whatnot. What they say, if it's in a book, if you don't want them to know the truth, put it in a book. Then Eve, being a fourth, laughed at their decision. She put mist into their eyes and secretly left her likeness with Adam. She entered the tree of acquaintance and remained there. And they pursued her, and she revealed to them that she had gone into the tree and became a tree. Then, entering a great state of fear, the blind creatures fled. Afterwards, when they had recovered from the daze, they came to Adam, and seeing the likeness of this woman with him, they were greatly disturbed, thinking it was she that was the true Eve. And they acted rashly. They came up to her and seized her and cast their seed upon her. They did so wickedly, defiling not only in natural ways, but also in foul ways. Of course, this is what they do. Defiling first the seal of her voice that had spoken with them, saying, What is it that exists before you? Intending to defile those who might say at the consummation of the age, that they had been born of the true man through verbal expression, and they erred, not knowing that it was their own body that they had defiled. It was the likeness that the authorities and their angels defiled in every way. First, she was pregnant with Abel by the first ruler. Great. And it was by the 7 authorities and their angels that she bore the other offspring. And all this came to pass according to the forethought of the prime parent, so that the first mother might bear within her every seed, being mixed and being fitted to the fate of the universe and its configurations and to justice. A prearranged plan came into effect regarding Eve. so that the modeled forms of the authorities might become enclosures of the light, whereupon the light, would condemn them through their modeled forms. Now, the first Adam of light, is spirit endowed. Okay. Pneumaticos. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Okay. And appeared on the first day. The second Adam is soul endowed, psychikos, and appeared on the sixth day, which is called Aphrodite. The third Adam is a creature of the earth, choikos, that is, the man of the law, and he appeared on the eighth day. Okay, the tranquility of poverty, which is called Sunday. And the progeny of the earthly Adam became numerous and was completed, and produced within itself every kind of scientific information of the soul endowed Adam, but all were in ignorance. Next, let me say that once the rulers had seen him and the female creature who was with him erring ignorantly like beasts, they were very glad. When they learned that the immortal man was not going to neglect them, rather that they would even have to fear the female creature that had turned into a tree, they were disturbed and said, "Perhaps this is the true man, this being who has brought a fog upon us and has taught us that she who was soiled is like him, and so we shall be conquered." Right? Then the seven of them together had plans. They came to Adam and Eve timidly. They said to him, "The fruit of all the trees created for you in paradise shall be eaten, but as for the tree of acquaintance, control yourselves and do not eat from it." Okay, now let's see this again. Then the seven of them together laid plans. They came up to Adam and Eve timidly. They said to him, "The fruit of all the trees created for you in paradise shall be eaten, but as for the tree of acquaintance, control yourselves and do not eat from it. If you eat, you will die." Having imparted great fear to them, they withdrew up to their authorities. Then came the wisest of all creatures, who was called Beast. And when he saw the likeness of their mother Eve, he said to her, "What did God say to you? Was it, 'Do not eat from the tree of acquaintance,' or gnosis, knowledge?" He said, "Not only do not eat from it, but do not touch it, lest you die." He said to her, "Do not be afraid. In death you shall not die, for he knows that when you eat from it, your intellect will become sober, and you will come to be like gods, recognizing the difference that obtains between evil men and good ones. Indeed, it was in jealousy that he said this to you, so that you would not eat from it." Okay. Now y'all remember when they just talked about the beast. They created the beast. They made this beast, and he was the wisest and the smartest, etc. I don't know. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's somewhere in here, but y'all can go back. I don't feel like looking for it. Well, maybe I will. Hold on. Okay. All right. And a drowsy human being was produced, whom the Greeks called Hermaphroditus, and whose mother the Hebrews called the Eve of life, namely the female instructor of life. Her offspring is the creature that is Lord. Afterwards, the authority called it beast. Okay, beast, come again. Okay, beast, so that it might lead astray their modeled creatures. Their interpretation of the beast is the instructor. This beast was created or made, or this offspring, to lead astray the modeled creatures, okay, who contain the light, to lead them astray. And what is their interpretation of the beast? The instructor. All right. What did it say? Something else it said. Oh, for it was found to be what? The wisest of all beings, the beast, the instructor, made to lead astray the model creatures who are holding in what? The light. Keeping it, snuffing it out. Okay, keeping it stuffed down in there. All right, let's get back to this. Where was I at? Okay. Now Eve had confidence in the words of the instructor. Here we are again. She gazed at the tree and saw that it was beautiful and appetizing and liked it. She took some of its fruit and ate it, and she gave some also to her husband, and he too ate it. Then their intellect became open, for when they had eaten, the light of acquaintance had shone upon them. When they clothed themselves with shame, they knew that they were naked of acquaintance. When they became sober, they saw that they were naked and became enamored of one another. When they saw that the ones who had modeled them had the form of beasts, they loathed them. They were very aware. Then when the rulers knew that they had broken their commandments, they entered paradise and came to Adam and Eve with earthquake and great threatening to see the effect of the aid. Then Adam and Eve trembled greatly and hid under the trees in paradise. Then the rulers did not know where they were and said, Adam, where are you? He said, I am here, for through fear of you I hid, being ashamed. And they said to him ignorantly, who told you about the shame with which you clothed yourself? Unless you have eaten from that tree. Who told you? Okay. He said, the woman who you gave me, it is she that gave to me and I ate. Then they said to the latter, what is this that you have done? She answered and said, it is the instructor that urged me on, and I ate. Then the rulers came up to the instructor. Their eyes became misty because of them, and they could not do anything to him. Interesting. They cursed him since they were powerless. Afterwards, they came up to the woman and cursed her and her offspring. After the woman, they cursed Adam and cursed the land because of him and the crops and all the things that they had created. They cursed. They have no blessing. Good cannot result from evil. From that day, the authorities knew that truly there was something mightier than they. They recognized only that their commandments had not been kept. Oh, I like that. From that day, the authorities knew that truly there was something mightier than they. They recognized only that their commandments had not been kept. Great jealousy was brought into the world solely because of the immortal man. Now, when the rulers saw that their Adam had entered into an alien state of acquaintance, they desired to test him, and they gathered together all the domestic animals and the wild beasts of the earth and the birds of heaven, and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them. When he saw them, he gave names to their creatures. They became troubled because Adam had recovered from all the trials. They became troubled. Okay. They assembled and laid plans, and they said, behold, Adam, he has come to be like one of us. And at the beast, that's what it told him. This was going to happen. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. He has come to be like one of us, so that he knows the difference between the light and the darkness. Now, perhaps he will be deceived, as in the case of the tree of acquaintance, and also will come to the tree of life and eat from it, and become immortal, and become Lord, and despise us, and disdain us, and all our glory. Excuse me. Now perhaps he will be deceived, as in the case of the tree of acquaintance, and also will come to the tree of life and eat from it, and become immortal, and become Lord, and despise us and disdain us and all our glory. What the beast say? Indeed, it was jealousy that he said not for y'all not to eat that tree, or they. Okay. He. Okay. Then he would denounce us along with our universe. Come, let us expel him from paradise down to the land from which he was taken, so that henceforth he might not be able to recognize anything better than we can. Ain't that something? Listen to that now. Then he will denounce us along with our universe. Come, let us expel him from paradise down to the land from which he was taken, so that henceforth he might not be able to recognize anything better than we can. And so they expelled Adam from paradise along with his wife. And this deed that they had done was not enough for them. Rather, they were afraid. Okay. Let us make man in our own image. Us. Okay? Not I, us. And the us's was afraid and saw that, oh, he recovered. He no good. They no good from evil and light from dark. We ain't more powerful than they is. But let's keep on going, okay? And so they expelled Adam from paradise along with his wife. And this deed that they had done was not enough for them. Rather, they were afraid. They went into the tree of life and surrounded it with great fearful things, fiery living creatures called cherubim. And they put a flaming sword in the midst, fearfully twirling at all times, so that no earthly being might ever enter that place. Thereupon, since the rulers were envious of Adam, they wanted to... Ain't that what the beast told him? He didn't lie, but they did. Go on and read Genesis. It's in there. Thereupon, since the rulers were envious of Adam, envy and jealousy, they wanted to diminish their Adam and Eve's lifespans. They could not because of fate, which had been fixed since the beginning. For to each had been allotted a lifespan of 1,000 years according to the course of the luminous bodies. But although the rulers could not do this, each of the evil doers took away 10 years. And all this lifespan which remained amounted to 930 years. And these are in pain and weakness and evil distraction. And so life has turned out to be from that day until the consummation of the age, excuse me. Okay. Then when Sophia Zoe saw that the rulers of darkness had laid a curse upon her counterparts, she was indignant. And coming out of the first heaven with full power, she chased the rulers out of their heavens and cast them. Who did it? Let's read this again. See, it's so many things here that in the traditional teachings have been attributed only to one deity here. But as we're reading this one did that, this one did that, here goes another one that did that. Not just one. And other things. So then when Sophia Zoe saw that the rulers of the darkness had laid, it's so easy to attribute it to just one. Simplify it, diminish it, and take the truth out of it and your understanding out of it. Although I ain't saying this is that easy to understand, and it's not hard to understand. It just needs to be, for me, sit down and just break it down. But I'm not doing that here. I'm just reading it to you, okay? Break it down bit by bit, okay? Piece by piece, okay? And to do a study, with the traditional book that we have that we know already has been tampered with and things have been purposely taken out. That ain't nothing new. I mean, we understand that historically, okay? Then when Sophia Zoe saw that the rulers of the darkness had laid a curse upon her counterparts, she was indignant. And coming out of the first heaven with full power, she chased those rulers out of their heavens and cast them down into the sinful world so that there should dwell in the form of evil spirits or demons upon the earth. So that in their world it might pass 1,000 years in paradise. A soul-endowed living creature called Phoenix. It kills itself and brings itself to life as a witness to the judgment against them. For they did wrong to Adam and his generation unto the consummation of the age. There are 3 men and also his posterities unto the consummation of the world, the spirit endowed of eternity and the soul endowed as the earthly. Likewise, the 3 phoenixes in paradise, the first is immortal, the second lives 1,000 years. As for the third, it is written in the sacred book that it is consumed. So too there are 3 baptisms. The first is spiritual, the second is by fire, and the third is by water. Just as the phoenix appears as a witness concerning the angels, so the case of the water Hydri in Egypt, which has been a witness to those going down into the baptism of a true man. The 2 bulls in Egypt possess a mystery, the sun and moon being a witness to the Sabaoth, namely that over them Sophia received the universe. From the day that she made the sun and the moon, she put a seal upon her heaven unto eternity. And the worm that has been born out of the phoenix is a human being as well. It is written in Psalms 91:13, concerning it, the just man will blossom like a phoenix. The just man will blossom like a phoenix. And the phoenix first appears in a living state and dies and rises again, being a sign of what has become apparent at the consummation of the age. It was only in Egypt that these great signs appeared. It was only in Egypt that these great signs appeared. It was only in Egypt that these great signs appeared. Nowhere else as an indication that it is like God's paradise. Let us return to the aforementioned rulers so that we may offer some explanation to them. Now, when the 7 rulers were cast down from their heavens onto the earth, they made for themselves angels, numerous, demonic, to serve them. And the latter instructed mankind in many kinds of error and magic and potions and worship of idols and spilling of blood in altars and temples and sacrifices and libations to all the spirits of the earth, having their co-worker fate, who came into existence by the concord between the gods of injustice and justice. And thus, when the world had come into being, it distractedly erred at all times. For all men upon the earth worshipped the spirits, the daemons. And thus, when the world had come into being, it distractedly erred at all times. For all men upon the earth worship the spirits, the daemons, from the creation to the consummation, both the angels of righteousness and the men of unrighteousness. Thus did the world come to exist in distraction, in ignorance, and in a stupor. Thus did the world come to exist in distraction, in ignorance, and in a stupor. They all erred unto the appearance or parousia of the true man. Let this suffice so far as the matter goes. Now, we shall proceed to consideration of our world so that we may accurately finish the description of its structure and management. Then it will become obvious how belief in the unseen realm, which has been apparent from creation down to the consummation of the age, was discovered. I come therefore to the main points regarding the immortal man. I shall speak of all the beings that belong to him, explaining how they happen to be here. When a multitude of human beings had come into existence through the parentage of the Adam who had been fashioned and out of the matter, and when the world had already become full, the rulers were master over it. That is, they kept it restrained by ignorance. For what reason? I'll read that again. Mainly for me. I read it too fast. When a multitude of human beings came into existence through the parentage of the Adam who had been fashioned and out of matter, and when the world had already become full, the rulers were master over it. That is, they kept it restrained by ignorance. For what reason? For the following. Since the immortal Father knows that a deficiency of truth came into being amongst the eternal realms and their universe, when he wished to bring to naught the rulers of perdition through the creatures that had molded, he sent your likeness down into the world of perdition, namely the blessed little innocent spirits. They're not alien to acquaintance, for all acquaintance is vested in one angel who appeared before them. He is not without power in the company of the Father, and he gave them acquaintance. Whenever they appear in the world of perdition, immediately and first of all, they reveal the pattern of imperishability as a condemnation of the rulers and their forces. Thus, when the blessed beings appeared in forms modeled by authorities, they were envied. Thus, when the blessed beings appeared in forms modeled by authorities, they were envied. And out of the envy, the authorities mixed their seed with them in hopes of polluting them. They could not. Then when the blessed beings appeared in luminous form, they appeared in various ways, and each of them, starting out in his land, revealed his kind of acquaintance to the visible church, constituted of the modeled forms of perdition. It, the church, was found to contain all kinds of seed because of the seed of the authorities that had mixed with it. Then the Savior created of them all, and the spirits of these are manifestly superior, being blessed and varying in election. And also he created many other beings, which have no king, and are superior to everyone that was before them. Consequently, four races exist. There are three that belong to the king of the eighth heaven. But the fourth race is kingless and perfect, being the highest of all. For these shall enter the holy place of their Father, and they will gain rest and repose and eternal unspeakable glory and unending joy. Moreover, they are kings within the mortal domain, in that they are immortal. They will condemn the gods of chaos and their forces. Now the word or logos that is superior to all beings was sent for this purpose alone, that he might proclaim the unknown. He said, Mark 4:22, there is nothing hidden that is not apparent, and what had not been recognized will be recognized. Okay. He said, now the word, logos, that is superior to all beings, was sent for this purpose alone. This purpose alone, that he might proclaim the unknown. He said, Mark 4:22, there is nothing hidden that is not apparent, and what has not been recognized will be recognized. There is nothing done that won't be brought to the light. Ain't no secrets, ain't nothing hidden. And these were sent to make known what is hidden, and the seven authorities of chaos and their impiety, and thus they were condemned to death. So when all the perfect appeared in the forms modeled by the rulers, and when they revealed the incomparable truth, they put to shame all the wisdom of the gods. And their fate was found to be a condemnation, and their force dried up. Their lordship was dissolved. Their forethought became emptiness along with their glory. Before the consummation of the age, the whole place will shake with great thundering. Then the rulers will be sad, their death. The angels will mourn for their mankind, and the demons will weep over their seasons, and their mankind will wail and scream at their death. Then the age will begin, and they will be disturbed. Their kings will be intoxicated with the fiery sword, and they will wage war against one another, so that the earth is intoxicated with bloodshed, and the seas will be disturbed by those waters. Then the sun will become dark, and the moon will cause its light to cease. The stars of the sky will cancel their circuits, and a great clap of thunder will come out of a great force that is above all the forces of chaos, where the firmament of the woman is situated. Having created the first product, she will put away the wise fire of intelligence, and clothe herself with witless wrath. Then she will pursue the gods of chaos, whom she created along with the prime parent. She will cast them down into the abyss. They will be obliterated because of their wickedness, for they will come to be like volcanoes and consume one another until they perish at the hand of the prime parent. When he has destroyed them, he will turn against himself. When he has destroyed them, he will turn against himself and destroy himself until he ceases to exist. And their heavens will fall upon the next, and there the rulers' forces will be consumed by fire. Their eternal realms too will be overturned, and the prime parent's heaven will fall and break in two. His will fall down upon the whatever is lost stuff, support them, and they will fall into the abyss, and the abyss will be overturned. The light will, etc., etc. It's lost information here. The darkness and obliterated. It will be like something that has never been, and the product to which the darkness has been posterior will dissolve, and the deficiency will be plucked out of the root and thrown down into the darkness, and the light will withdraw up to its root, and the glory of the unbegotten will appear, and it will fill the eternal realm. When the prophecy and the account of those that are king becomes known, and is fulfilled by those who are called perfect, those who, in contrast, have not become perfect, and the unbegotten Father will receive their glory in their realms and in the kingdoms of the immortals, but they will never enter the kingless realm. For everyone must go to the place from which he has come. Everyone must go to the place from which he has come. Indeed, by his acts and his acquaintance, each person will make his nature known. From the beginning to the end. All right. Hope y'all enjoyed this as much as I did. Y'all be blessed. Peace.